YouTube. It's me and my crazy hair that I'm trying to learn how to style or what to do stuff with. Anyway, we're headed to go get some lunch, maybe some gas. I really need some gas. Anyway, so I wanted to do a video on a labor and delivery tour, and I just decided this is as good a time as any. I'm actually 30 weeks pregnant today. I don't know when I'm going to be able to do my update video. We'll see how it works. But for now, I just thought that I would start my labor and delivery tour video. For those of you who do not know, very oftentimes your hospital's website will talk about a labor and delivery tour that you can do. And so the benefits of that, there's actually a lot of benefits to that. I think in our area, most people don't do a tour. And so I don't really know how other people feel about this at all. But I feel like it was very beneficial both times. So for those of you who don't know, welcome to my channel if you haven't followed at all or whatever. If you haven't really followed along, but you've kind of been here, whatever. I have a 2.5-year-old at home, and I am 30 weeks pregnant today with my second child. With my daughter at home, I delivered at one hospital that is local. It's here in my town. But with this one, I'm going to a hospital that's about 45 minutes away. Not because the hospital in my town, I don't really find it to be bad, or I didn't find it to be bad, but I really did not care for my experience with my doctor. So I found another doctor that I liked. He happened to be with a different affiliate in 45 minutes away with that hospital. So anyway, so that's what's going on. So with my daughter, what happened was I had gotten on the hospital website, just perused it. I just think it's a good idea. So I did that, and they were all about taking a tour of labor and delivery, right? Right. Well, it's different when you are looking at a website and the presentation of what their hospital is versus actually going and doing these things. And I say that because whenever I said I wanted to come and tour labor and delivery, the nurses acted like we were probably the first people to ask to do that. Were we? Maybe not, but she acted like it. She's like, "You want to come tour?" And I'm like, "Well, your website says that you can." She's like, "Well, yeah, you can," but they all seem to treat it like it was a pointless thing to do. And actually, what I ended up doing with my daughter, I failed. I don't know if that's the right terminology for this, but I'm just gonna say it that way. I failed my 1-hour glucose test. So, excuse me, I had to go back and do the 4-hour glucose test, and it's all within the facility. So I was in the hospital already. So as a time killer, in between times, whatever, we took a tour of labor and delivery. That's just what we did. So we took it in person. It was a pretty good tour, straightforward. Our labor and delivery unit here is not huge, but it's of decent size. They had great room, the rooms were great. I loved the facilities and stuff, and they just kind of took you through, walked through, showed you the facilities. So that my biggest thing, pretty much in life when I go places, I hate going places and being or feeling lost. Like I don't know what I'm doing and I'm lost and I'm trying to figure it out as I go. And then to think, then you have to do that while you're in labor. No, thank you. I want to go exactly where I need to go. That's just how I am about things. So am I anal? I don't know. To me, I like to know where I'm going, what I'm doing, what to expect a little bit, you know? I'm not good with change, I guess. I don't know. So anyway, it gave me the opportunity also to ask that nurse certain functionalities of the department. That again, if you're on a website and they list what is available, whatever, it might be different when you talk to the people. And that's pretty much what I found with that. I mean, it was okay, but anyway, it was a good tour. Obviously, they show you the rooms, they do all that kind of stuff, and then I was asking, what do you have in terms of pain management? What do you have available? Do you have waterproof monitoring or whatever to where I could get in the shower if I needed to. And I got all those questions answered. They did not have waterproof monitoring. So you're not going to labor in the shower. You're not going to do anything like that. They did have like labor balls and the peanuts and stuff. And so, you know, there was some of that discussed. And I asked, do you guys do alternative birthing positions rather than just on the back? And she sputtered around quite a bit before she answered and said, that's really up to your doctor. It's a doctor discretion thing. And she pretty much alluded to the fact, she didn't want to give too much away, right? But she pretty much alluded to the fact that they just didn't see a lot of that there, okay? So that was pretty much it. It was quick, it was short, whatever. So now I'm going to this other hospital. And the reason I told you my first experience was just to kind of compare and contrast between the hospitals and how things are handled and why I really value some things that other people might take it for granted. So I contacted this hospital via their website, and then I started emailing back and forth with a woman named Nikki, and she was very nice and sweet and what have you. And like I said, I had kind of perused the website a little bit, and there were some informative videos, whatever, on there, just quick little 2-3 minute videos, and I watched them. And they were all this one woman, and I thought maybe that those videos were done at like the larger hospital in the big city, and it wasn't. It was done in the hospital that I was going to, and the things that she was talking about being available were actually at my actual hospital I will be going to. So that was really valuable to me. And so whenever we got this set up, so I have talked on here about how like crazy the schedule is for us right now, and it truly is just crazy. And again, driving 45 minutes away, gas prices the way they are and stuff like that, and I am on every 2-week appointments. It's like if we couldn't like piggyback one off the other, I didn't want to make any unnecessary trips necessarily. And whenever I had first looked into doing the tour, everything said it was virtual. And I was like, okay, because of COVID, whatever, and that makes sense. But whenever I started communication with Nikki, she let me know that's really that's not a thing anymore. They do it in person. But given our situation or whatever, she was happy to do it virtually, which was wonderful. So we set up a virtual tour, which again, apparently is not something they really do right now. And so our tour this time was virtual. Now I will say that as it got going, as the tour got going, she did tell me, like next time, you come for a doctor's visit and your husband's able to attend, or I could just go by myself, obviously. But it's valuable if my husband's going to be there during labor and delivery. We both need that type of knowledge and information. Now, if he's not there, I need to relay all this stuff to my mom, which I have done. But basically, she was like, we'll piggyback off of a doctor's appointment. You just come see me. We'll just do a quick walkthrough so you're very familiar with the actual floor and layout of everything instead of just being virtual. So that's awesome. I love that she offered that. Okay, now we're waiting on our food. So anyway, yeah, she's like, piggyback off that. We'll do the tour, Also, she does car seat checkpoints, which is amazing. So she said, get your car seats, whatever, in order, bring them up. I'll check the new babies, and I'll even check your older daughters. Okay, now we're pulling up and waiting for our food over here. Whatever. Gives me more time to talk to you. So anyway, so we're gonna do that. We're gonna have her check our car seats. We will probably take the car back up and have this one rechecked. My husband's very good at putting it in. And really, as long as we have the guidelines and stuff, that's all that matters. But you can go up there anytime, literally, and she will check your car seats. I think that is absolutely the coolest thing. To my knowledge, they did not offer that at my hospital in my town. The other thing is this woman is a lactation consultant, and I've even been thinking, okay, how do I get that ball rolling? How do I see a lactation consultant? because for those of you who don't know, my milk never, ever, ever came in with my daughter. It never did. I did not have an option, except for formula. I don't care if people choose to do formula, if people choose to breastfeed, if they chose to breastfeed but then they couldn't. Like, listen, just feed your kid. I don't care how you do it, and I don't think anyone should care how I do it. That's just how I look at it. I'm nervous about breastfeeding. I have a lot of like feelings, emotions, concerns, just whatever, because I kind of went through all that before. I've still never done it, and again, I'm not great with change, but the formula shortage and just everything else, again, I want to do everything as independently as I can. And I think breastfeeding is great. Like, I'm all for it. Don't get me wrong. I'm just nervous. Like, that's all. And so she asked me questions about things with my daughter, and she was literally all for it. These are all free things. And she said, after your 36 weeks, which she said, I understand your other daughter came at 36 weeks, so that might be pushing it, but this and this or whatever. She said, please, 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 because she said, I know how that can kind of mess with your head or whatever. She said, please, please schedule a meeting with me. Come up. She said, come up, meet with me, and we will do a lactation quick overview to get you comfortable with things, and if you have any questions and blah, 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 before you have the baby, and then come after you have the baby if you're having any trouble, if you just need some support, anything like that. I thought that was amazing, amazing, amazing. At my hospital in my town, they did tell me that they had a lactation consultant that I could consult with if I requested that or required that. But they never really gave me any information on it whatsoever, or even just offered to send her in with me, because they just told me about every hour, just like pump, 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 because they didn't want me actually breastfeeding, because I was on magnesium and I was on so many medications that they wanted me to pump and dump. And so I never actually saw a lactation consultant with my daughter. Maybe I should have. I tried in vain for a month and nothing ever came in. Now this woman is like, she's very serious about, I want to help you. And oh my gosh, I just think it's night and day difference of the accommodation and the service. Just like the genuine concern that I'm getting. Okay, we got our food. There's gonna be a lot of parts to this video, and I was just gonna talk about it. Anyway, so so she was very accommodating with everything, wants to help, wants to get me on the right track for all of this, which is great, because I also think maybe depending on how you're wired, maybe that's what it is. And I know I'm wired this way, very similar to how I said, I want my hospital bags packed early and often this time. Not often, it's just a saying. But very similar to how the stress of my hospital bag situation last time just really overwhelmed me. So I want to get it packed early this time. Hence why I'm so excited for the video, right? Going and doing the tour, being prepared, that's helpful. She was putting at my disposal everything that I need to help, that I feel like, because last time I kind of had a little postpartum-y thing. I don't really know what to call it. I wouldn't say I went full-fledged depression. Anxiety, yes, but I don't know. I fell into some sort of category. I definitely went through a thing. And I don't want to do that this time. I know to a certain degree you're going to. But I just don't. I want to just head as much of that stuff off as I can. So if I can have some of these meetings, courses, I'm starting to look up YouTube videos. I wish I knew how to link videos whenever I was editing. I don't. But if you are a first-time mom, pregnant right now, I highly, highly, highly suggest, recommend, whatever, and maybe I can figure out how to like put it in the description or something. I don't know, but listen, there's a 3-part video series thing online, and I'm sure there's a lot of other ones that are really, really good and everything, but I'm telling you what, there is this midwife who did these videos, and to me, they are so informative and so helpful. I watched them with my daughter. I'm watching them again this time. I did already. I'm going to watch them again. And watching them the second time with your second child, it's a whole new light than it was the first time. But still, it was very helpful. Her name is Holiday Tyson. And it's I just searched prenatal class, or midwife prenatal class, I think is what I searched. Anyway, her name is Holiday Tyson. She's standing at the front of the room. The only thing that I don't like is it's not mic'd to where you can hear the questions asked to her. So you kind of got to like piece together what the question was to get like what the answer is related to. But very helpful, informative videos. So I'm starting to pull these things up. I haven't taken any like classes as far as childbirth or like anything like that. I pretty well, I know the process and stuff. But when you gain, to me, knowledge is like power. And you gain some of this knowledge is very important. So for me, the labor and delivery tour, it's very much knowledge of the place that you're going to go stay at. But then there's other knowledges that are also just as important, and it helps me to be more prepared for things, which, yeah, totally. And those videos by Holiday Tyson, definitely, it helped me be equipped. Even though my labor and delivery with my daughter was like wackadoo, it helped me to be equipped with the knowledge that I could identify and know what stages of labor I was going through, what to expect when, kind of. So I would highly recommend that. Anyway, so back to the actual tour. That was stuff she went over with me really before the tour even started, and we got more into it later and got the details or whatever. So I'm very excited about that. And then she took us on the tour. And so in the hospital in my town, they have birthing suites, and you're in there, you labor, you deliver, and you stay, postpartum, whatever, you stay in that room. So whenever I went in, I was in triage, and I actually stayed the night in triage because they were going to release me the next morning. It's a whole story. So I stayed in triage, but once they had decided to admit me, I went into the room I went into, and I was there for another 4 days. In this other hospital, the way that they do it, okay, just go. The way that they do it is they have their triage unit, and they have labor and delivery rooms, and they have postpartum rooms. But just because you deliver doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be transferred to a postpartum room. If you go in for a C-section, take you to the big scary room, and when you're done, immediately the postpartum room. That is true. But really, she said if you have a vaginal delivery, the only time you would be transferred, to a postpartum care room is if they were like super busy and they really didn't have enough rooms, and you did your delivery, and then they would move you to postpartum and then get that room cleaned up for the next people. So really kind of a cool system there. I think it probably helps them. They are a bigger town than we are, serving like pretty big area, So I think that is like a great way of handling that influx of people that they probably get sometimes. And I'm due in September, which apparently is like a huge month. So great. So anyway, there's that. But I was able to ask. She went through. They had great rooms. They have recently like updated them, which is great. I again asked about the pain management things that they had. They did have the options of like I could get in the shower. Also, they now have a couple of like labor tubs. You cannot deliver in it, so they're not birthing tubs, but they are labor tubs. So should I decide that, I could do that. I'm nervous about, I actually really want to do that. I'm nervous about that for another reason. I may get into that in this video, I may not. So, they have the labor balls, the peanuts, like she's just showing me everything, and then she went over all the pain management stuff. I mean, it was wonderful. She was very helpful and informative, and they do have more options than they had in my hospital in this town. And so then also she's walking us around, showing us the unit. I had asked her about the alternative birthing positions, and they're all for it. I even dropped my doctor's name. I'm like, well, this is who I have, da-da-da. And they're just like, she goes, oh my gosh, he is wonderful with alternative birthing position. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. So it's very, and they seem very natural friendly. They immediately do skin to skin. No questions asked. Immediately they do skin to skin. There was all kinds of stuff that they were listing off that leaned more in the world of natural medicine, and even some of the stuff I was looking up with midwife stuff with like when I was pregnant with my daughter, and I felt like I was having to like fight my hospital to try to get some of that stuff, because I am all for medical intervention if it's needed, but if it's not needed, I'm all for as natural as we can get it for me. I'm not going to judge somebody else. And I had an epidural with my daughter and all that kind of stuff. Like, I'm not, hi. No. You do what you got to do. You do what you want to do. I'm not judging that at all. It's just for me, I feel like doing less of the medical stuff, if possible, makes me personally feel more comfortable. Because with everything you do comes more risks, and you're going to have risks no matter what, but it stresses me out. That's all. So anyway, so the fact that they were like leaning more that way got me very excited, like, because I felt like I wouldn't have to maybe constantly fight and advocate for myself just to not get what I wanted anyway, you know what I mean? So there was all that. So she actually took me through, she showed me, it was my husband and I, but anyway, like the squat bars that goes on the bed, even how they sanitize them and put them in like these plastic things or whatever, covers and blah blah blah, like the whole night. Showed me everything, their cleanliness procedures of all that stuff. I was like, that is amazing that you're doing this. And then they also have a family kitchen, which I thought was amazing. There's an ice maker, there's a coffee maker, there's a little table in there if the dads need to go take a break or whatever. There's a refrigerator, there's a microwave. Like, I was like, holy cow, that is the coolest thing. And even, you know, she's telling me all this and I'm getting excited, right? And to her, she's like, yeah, but you'll probably only be here like 24, 48 hours. Well, I told her I have a hard time sometimes. I may ask odd questions of certain things, but it's because with my daughter, I was in the hospital for 5 days. We turned this into an actual family vacation. You know what I mean? On accident. We didn't want to, you know. But for me, I'm preparing for whatever. People prepare for 24 hours. I was prepared for 24 hours. I stayed 5 days. I did not have what I needed. You know what I mean? And so there's that. She was absolutely wonderful. So as I'm pulling up my lane, getting ready to pull it into my driveway, if you just really don't care, if you just really just don't care and you can show up and just have your kid and it's fine and you're whatever, it doesn't matter. But if you like to be prepared like me, like, I highly recommend doing a tour of labor and delivery so that you know what you can expect. You can ask questions and find out things about the actual unit, that it's more helpful talking to a nurse that works on that floor. And then you just get the information, and even stuff like, do you often see this? Do you often see that? I highly, highly recommend it if that's for you. It's definitely for me. I mean, if I have another child and I birth in that same hospital, I may not tour it again, but I may, just for a refresher. Listen, I think it's a very cool thing. I think it's important. So thanks for joining me on this video. Hopefully I'll do my update video soon. Bye.